In today's video, I'm going to show you how to automate the entire onboarding process of a digital business using Make.com from A to Z. This onboarding has taken 30 seconds to complete, and it made these: a welcoming email, created folders to share with the client and share the link, created a Slack channel for the client and invited him in, sent another email with all of the links created, next steps for the client, and a button to book the kickoff call, saved the invoice paid by the client, inputted the data of our client into our CRM, and sent a notification to our employees with the onboarding and the next steps for them. This would have taken valuable time out of our day and maybe even created delay with the client response, and it all been completed in around 30 seconds, which is absolutely crazy. And in today's video, we're going to go over how to build everything from start to finish and implement it into your business. I've been thinking a lot about this idea, and right now I just pulled the trigger. So I just created my community for entrepreneurs that want to scale their businesses using AI and automation infrastructures and are trying to gain as much clarity as possible so that running their business is more enjoyable. Now, I built this community on School. It's going to be a free community for now, where I'm going to also store all of the resources from all of my YouTube videos when it comes to JSON blueprints for Make.com automations, when it comes to ChatGPT prompts, or when it comes to other resources. I have the link to join the community first. Line in the description. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's going to be a community filled with entrepreneurs that are striving to be better and are striving to implement AI into their businesses and not fall behind all of these new times in 2025 when it comes to all of these upgrades in technology. Don't miss this opportunity, and let's get back to our video. Okay, so the tool stack that we are going to use for today's onboarding is going to be this. We are going to be using Make.com as the main automation platform. This is going to be the platform where we basically link all of the other apps that we are going to use in our other processes. We are going to use ClickUp as our main CRM. I chose ClickUp because you can have a lot of customization room within the app, so you can create automations in ClickUp, and by combining those automations with the other automations in Make.com, you can create some really powerful systems. For the emailing app, we are going to use Gmail. We're going to use Google Drive for file storing, Slack for communication with our employees and with our clients, and Stripe for the payment processor. First of all, we need a trigger, and the trigger is going to be when the first invoice is going to be paid by our client. Then the automation waterfall is going to be triggered. What actions are we going to introduce into our onboarding? For this specific example, we have all of these, but you can do whatever actions you usually take when it comes to your business, when it comes to your niche, when it comes to what service you are delivering. Now, for this specific example, to give you some context, we are going to be acting like a design studio. So the first action is going to be client documents folder is going to be created, and the invoice is going to be saved here. We want to store all of our documents and be as organized as possible. Then the internal team is going to be notified via Slack with a message, which is going to say that we have a new client that has paid his first invoice and is going to be onboarding our system. And they are going to have a few next steps that they have to complete for this specific onboarding. Then the client data is going to be stored into our CRM. Then we have a Google Drive folder which is going to be created. Folder sharing link is going to be created, and the link is going to be sent to the client. We are going to have some spaces that we are going to share with the client so that the whole transferring of documents and the whole storing of data and whatever assets are going to be needed is going to be again organized. Then the Slack channel is going to be created, and the client is going to be invited to the Slack channel. We want a separate communications channel for our clients specifically, so we are going to do this using Slack. And a custom welcoming email is going to be created and sent. Now, this custom welcoming email can really contain whatever you want. For this specific example, we are going to have a quick, exciting message, scope, quick review, and link to SOW, presentation of the team they are going to be working with, what we need from him with links to the forms/checklist, kickoff call scheduling link, instructions on how we work, link to the receipt of the payment, closing message, and sign off. Actually, I don't think I'm going to be inputting all of these informations, but this is just an example of everything that you can include into a custom welcoming email. Now that we know how the example system is going to look like, you can have an idea of how you would structure yours. You can think about it like this. First of all, you are going to be needing a trigger, which can be multiple things. For instance, in this example, we have used an invoice being paid as our trigger, or you can have maybe a web form has been completed, or you can have, I don't know, maybe a specific email that has been sent to you. The idea here is, by the way, for this specific system that we are going to be using, what we need from this trigger is, first of all, to start this whole sequence. And second of all, we are going to be using some information from this trigger, specifically the email. We are going to be using the email in all of these other actions. So as long as you have a trigger that is going to contain the email of your client, and you can use it as a trigger, so you can use it to start this specific sequence in make.com, it is going to do the job perfectly. Then you're going to have to think exactly what other actions you need in order to onboard one client of yours. So you're going to list here all of the actions that you usually do. Maybe you create a new task in your CRM. Maybe you don't send a welcoming email. Maybe you just send him a WhatsApp message or something like that. Maybe you create a folder to share with him, so on and so forth. You have to list all of your actions, right? And then you're going to have to think, okay, how am I going to create automations for each one of these actions? What you are going to be needing to create these automations. So what information you are going to be needing from your client, like, do you need the email? Do you need his name? Do you need some other ID from other apps that you are using? You have to think about all of these inputs for these specific sequences. And once you have all of these, you can then go and start building everything into make.com. So let's go into make.com and see how this specific example actually looks like. This automation looks like this. Just like I told you, we have a trigger, which is going to be a Stripe watch events module. Whenever an invoice has been paid, this whole sequence is going to be activated. Now, this Stripe module is going to give us some data that we are going to be needing in order to complete these other sequences. Just like I said, the most important data from this specific module is going to be the email of our client. Here we have their account name, we have the amount due, the amount paid, right? All of this other information that we can manipulate and do some other actions in the future. But what we are going to extract from there is going to be the customer email and maybe the customer name if you are going to use it. And also the invoice PDF. This is really nice from Stripe. It already creates a invoice and is going to give you the link for it. Then we can just download it and store it wherever we want. So we have the trigger, and then we have a router where we have all of these other actions, all of these other sequences. First of all, we have the custom welcoming email. We have the sequence where we basically create the folders in Google Drive, and then we are going to share it with our client alongside other links from Slack and from ClickUp, whatever you want to share with him, again via an email. We are going to be creating the Slack channel and inviting him to that specific channel. We are going to store the invoice into a Google Drive folder of ours. We are going to input the data of our client into our CRM, and we are going to send the Slack message to our employees. It's really that simple, to be honest. You have to think about it like this. You have the first module, and then you have all of these other actions that are going to be your waterfall sequences. Now let's go over each one of these actions. First of all, we have the Stripe one, where I have connected my Stripe account, right? And here you are going to select in the group whatever you want it to listen to. So what actions need to be completed in order to activate this specific trigger? I chose for invoice. If we go to invoice, it is going to be invoice payment succeeded. So whenever we are going to be sending an invoice to our client and he's going to pay it to us, this module is going to run. Therefore, the automation is going to be triggered. You can do whatever other action you actually want from Stripe, or whatever other trigger you want for your workflow. Then we have the first action, which is going to be the first custom welcoming email. Now, just like I told you, we need from this first module the customer email to basically know the address that we are going to be sending the email to, and also the customer name, so that we can do a little bit of a personalization for this specific email. Then I have an HTML email, which I created with ChatGPT. Of course, I don't really know that much HTML coding. So yeah, ChatGPT can do a lot of cool stuff. And I'm actually going to show you how I created this email in just a few seconds. It really is this simple. You're just going to go into ChatGPT and you are going to say something like, I want to send a welcoming email to my clients. I want it to be an HTML email. I want it to contain X, Y, and Z. And I want it to be a little bit personalized. I want to use some gradients so that I can make it aesthetic. And I wanted to make it pretty concise, short, and exciting for the client to read. then we are going to be letting ChatGPT do its thing. Now, while this email is going to be created, let's go over to our Make.com scenario and explain the next action, which is going to be creating the Google Drive folders and sharing them with our client again. So first of all, we have to create a main folder, which is going to be a Google Drive folder. Here we create a folder module. We are going to choose our folder location and we are going to name it like this. In order to make it as organized as possible, I usually name them like my agency name, X, and the customer's name, so that I can distinguish each one of these folders that we have created, right? We are not going to be sharing the folder in the first module. Then we are going to be creating two subfolders for the main folder. So we are going to save them in the first folder location, which is going to be, we are going to be mapping basically the location of the first folder. And then we are going to put another / and we are going to put the folder ID of the folder that we have created. This basically means that we have the same path for our Google Drive folders, but we are going to put everything inside the folder that we have already created, right? We are going to name it calls, whatever you want to call it. I named it calls because I want to have all of the transcripts with our customers stored inside this specific folder. And we are going to do the exact same thing again. We are going to create another folder inside the main one, and this one is going to be called documents because we want to store all the documents with our clients. And then we are going to create a link. We are going to get a share link for the main folder that we have created. We want the role to be writer, so we want him to be able to put documents there and download documents. The email address is going to be the customer email that we are going to get from the first Stripe module. And we can even put an emailing message for the email that is going to be sent with the sharing link. Also, because I don't want it to be just bland like that, you are going to be receiving an email from Gmail that is going to say that you are going to be sharing a folder with X, but I want to put another email here, which is going to be a little bit more personalized. And in this email, I am going to put the link from the Google Drive that we have created. Also, I'm going to announce the client that we have created a Slack channel for him too. So we are going to put all of this data here. Again, this email has been done with ChatGPT. Let's go over to ChatGPT and we see here that he has given us an HTML. Usually what I do is go to HTML viewer. I'm going to paste here the code that he has given us. And you can see that it's actually not really readable. It's dark mode. Then we can just tweak it a bit. You can say, make it light mode and make the text be more readable. See, you just have to do this. You just have to review it a bit, go back to ChatGPT and make some changes. But as you can see, it actually looks pretty nice. If it is not dark mode, we have this gradient button, which is really cool, where we can link our Calendly link so that our client can book the next meeting. This specific example is going to be for a kickoff meeting or whatever. So you can just play with it, or you can just go here if you know a bit of HTML and play with the color, with the size of the fonts, with everything really. And this is the new example. It looks like this. It's on light mode. It actually looks really good if you think about it. You can just receive a plain email, or you can receive this, which is a bit more personalized. Here we can put the client's name, of course, in Make.com and all of these custom variables. And yeah, it adds a bit of an aesthetic and a bit of personality to everything. Going back to Make.com, we are going to go over the next action, which is going to be creating a new Slack channel and inviting our user to it. Now, this one is a little bit of a more complicated action because you cannot directly invite a user via their email. Therefore, you need to do a little bit of HTTP make a request, and you need to name everything in lower cases and no spaces basically. Therefore, we are going to create the name like this. We are going to put everything in lowercase. We are going to replace all of the spaces with dashes so that we don't have spaces, and we have AIGC at the end so that we can stay organized within our Slack channels, right? For this specific action, if you want to get more details, I have a dedicated video on my channel, so you can go there and watch it. Then the next action is going to be this. We are going to get the invoice from Stripe and we are going to save it into a folder in Google Drive. We are going to be needing an HTTP module in order to download the file. So it's a get a file HTTP module. We are going to basically input the invoice PDF that we have gotten from the first module. And then we are going to store it into Google Drive. We are going to have an upload a file module Google Drive. We are going to choose the folder location and we are going to map the file from the previous module, which is this. This is really, really simple. Then we are going to have these two ClickUp modules, which are going to be, first of all, we are going to get all of the tasks that we have into our pipeline. Let me actually show you my ClickUp dashboard so you can understand a bit better how everything works. First of all, I have a pipeline with all of the leads that I have for my effective agency, right? So these are going to be the leads that come from web forms or that I'm going to be manually inputting. So we have their name, their company name, the contact person, priority, project type, deal value, all of this information. And then we have this really cool custom variable, which is going to be the sales stage, which goes from lead, call booked, proposal negotiation, statement of work, won, lost, and all of these other things. Now, what is cool about ClickUp is, just like I said, you can create automations within the app itself. So we have an automation that whenever a sales stage goes from whatever to won, you can go actually here and see it. We have 4 total actions, automations here. So when the sales stage goes from any statement to won, then we are going to move these tasks to another list, which is going to be the deals list. Now the deals list is going to be into our CRM and it's going to look like this. This is where we keep track of all of our active clients. So basically we are moving the lead from the pipeline into an active client into our deals list in our CRM. And here, all of our employees are going to just have to assign somebody to that specific client, the due date, the services, the health, billing, whatever, right? But the idea here is that we are going to get the lead from a normal lead that just stagnates to an active client into the spaces where we track everything. So this is what these modules do. The first module is just going to be listing all of the tasks from our pipeline, right? So we get all of the information from our pipeline. And specifically, we are going to get the task in our pipeline that matches the email from the invoice. Therefore, we are going to select the specific lead that has paid that specific invoice. And what we are going to do is that we are going to edit a custom field, which is going to be the custom field called deal value. We're going to input the deal value to here. And also we are going to change the sales stage to 1. And once we have changed, let me actually show you. Once we have changed something to 1, you are going to see that it is going to be transferred here into our deals. Yeah, it's just transferred into our deals list into our CRM. And then we have the last action, which is going to be the Slack message that we are going to be sending to our employees, which is a little bit like this. We have the customer name, just a bit of personalization. This is important so that our employees know when they need to do and what they need to do for our new clients. As you can see, it is not really that difficult to structure everything. It's more like how you are going to be preparing everything beforehand. So how are you going to prepare the ideas and all of the systems on a paper, basically? You know exactly, okay, this is going to be my trigger and these are going to be the actions that I'm going to have to take. Then I'm going to have all of these input variables. So we need, for the specific actions, we need the first name of the client email, whatever. Then you have to think, okay, how do we get it? Can we get it from the trigger that we are using, or do we need another module, another space where we can get that data from? It's really like putting pieces of the puzzle one by one so that we can create a whole picture of everything. Okay, so let's test it out again. By the way, for your Stripe, if you're going to be using Stripe as your trigger and you want to test things out, it's really cool that you can go here into your Stripe account and you can go with switch to sandbox, go into test mode. Therefore, you can create fictive customers and fictive invoices and you can pay with fictive money in order to basically try and test everything out. So we have a client here, Michael Morrison. We are going to be creating an invoice for him. I already have an item pre-done for this specific thing. So the item is going to be the web design service for 5,000 euros. We are going to save this It's really cool that here you can actually write something in the footer. So basically you can say this is the first invoice for the system. Therefore, by the way, this is going to be shown in the output of the Stripe module in your make.com automation. So you can manipulate this to create some really other cool sequences, like tracking all of the invoices that have been paid for this service or not for each one of your clients. You can go really, really complex here. This is just an idea. So we are going to be sending this invoice, and let's just not pay tax, collect tax, yeah. And we are going to be sending the invoice again to our client. We are going to go over our inbox. We just received our invoice. We go into our make.com automation and we are going to click run so that the Stripe module listens to when the invoice has been paid. We are going to pay this invoice again with fictive money, of course, which is going to be 5,000 euros. We are going to go here, choose the card. We are going to put 4 2s all over the place. This is going to be the way we are going to pay with fictive money, and we are going to pay it. And you can see that everything has been paid. We have here the invoice receipts and the automation has started running. We have the Stripe module that has run. We have the first welcoming email. All of these Google Drive folders have been created with another email where we send the link to our client. The Slack channel has been created. The invoice has been saved. We inputted all of our clients' data from the lead pipeline all the way to our CRM, and a notification has been sent to our employees. Let's see how this looks for our client. So basically he gets 3 emails. First of all, he's going to get the first welcoming email where he knows exactly what happens next. He knows that we are going to be having a kickoff call and he needs to book it in maximum 3 days. Here we have a link to a Calendly link where he can book the kickoff call, right? Which is really cool. About the access, the deliverables, and point of contact, also the access that we're going to be needing as an agency from him. This is going to be the first email. Then he's going to be getting a second email where he has, first of all, a link to the main folder that we have created for him with all of these other 2 subfolders like the documents folder and the calls folder, right? Really cool. Then we have the Slack channel name. If we go over to Slack, we should see, yeah, this is the channel that we have created and invited him to. If we also go to onboarding, we see that we have another message here for our employees. Michael Morrison has paid their first invoice, and the next steps for the employees to go over to our CRM and update all of the informations. And if we go back, again, he has the kickoff call in order to book the kickoff call to our Calendly, and another email from Google Drive directly, just like I said, where he gets the main folder too. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Imagine that your client pays his invoice and in 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds, maybe he gets all of these data, all of this information, all of these emails with all of the space he's already created. He has a clear image of what happens next, of what he should be doing. He can book the kickoff call again in a few seconds with the direct link to your Calendly, right? He has all of these folders where he can immediately dump you the assets and you can just go to work in the same day, in the same hour. It's crazy. This is actually going to be the first episode of a series where I'm going to automate different sequences and parts of a digital business. This has been the onboarding. We are going to be automating maybe the CRM, the offboarding, and many other cool things within all of these processes. If you want to get the blueprint to this automation and some other really cool templates that I have used in here, you can get them into my community. Again, first link in the description. It's absolutely free and you are going to be joining a really badass entrepreneur community. Guys, thanks for watching and see you on the next one.